Welcome back, everyone, to the Kingman community here on YouTube. Today we have something for you all that I know you have been waiting for. So today is a how-to video on cattle, and we're talking about Westby, Wisconsin solely here, you all. Just on Westby, Wisconsin. Things are a little bit different than FS19, but that's completely okay. So we are starting off with a few different things that you are going to need for cattle and doing TMR. For starters, you all want to make sure that you download this Bale 125 mix all grinder mixer. This right here is going to be a mobile hammer mill for you. Now, if you are doing things with that mobile hammer mill, that Bale, it will be a two-step process. Here we have a placeable hammer mill that is acting as doing the same exact thing. This hammer mill, I do believe we have found on my network, so make sure you go check that one out. Another very important piece here on Westby is going to be the New Holland blower, the F62B. This right here, this is going to allow you to be able to utilize your silage in the silos on each of the farms. And the last little piece is this little bin right here. This bin you can purchase with this trigger here, the mineral feed, if you would like to just flat out buy it, or you can use the Bale mixer. And this Bale mixer right here can also unload into that same bin. So as we pull up and we take a look at the cattle that we do have here on Westby, between our freestall barn, which is our dairy with our brown Swiss and our Holsteins, and the Angus, you will notice that there are three categories in which we need to fill: silage, hay, and grain. It is the same for both dairy and the beef pastures. Now, for the dairy, especially on the farm that I am on, it's a little bit different. Some of the other smaller barns, you are going to need to come on into your purchase menu, go to the animals category, and in here, you will need to have one of these two carts that came with JMF Modding's first barn that he released, his tie stall barn. He did release these as well. They are on his Facebook page. You can go ahead, you can check those out. For my setup here on Westby, we have ourselves a small little freestall barn. So our trigger is right here for our feed and for our straw. This we can use a larger TMR mixer. Pull behind if you want. But to start here for the grain section, the grain category can be filled with mineral feed. So the grain, you can either give them straight grain or you can do mineral feed. Now on Westby, as we are unloading the corn that we just harvested out of the field, so you can take that fresh corn, that high moisture corn as it is considered, and you can go ahead, harvest it, bring it on over to your hammer mill. In this hammer mill, it is going to convert. It's going to be your incoming material as corn. That outcoming material from that is going to be considered raw cornmeal. Now, as that hammer mill is converting the corn to the raw cornmeal, we can now take something such as what I'm using right now, like a Mayer chopper box. This chopper box just makes it a little bit easier with the blower. Now, you can use other trailers. It doesn't have to be realistic. You can take those other trailers, back them up, as long as it matches up with the trigger for the blower to work, it will work. Now, we're going to take this chopper box and we're going to load up this raw cornmeal into the chopper box from our hammer mill. Now, for this video's sake, we don't need a whole lot. We're going to drive it on over to the blower now, and we're going to put that raw cornmeal into our silo. Now that the raw cornmeal is in our silo, we're just taking a look at this earlage. Now, when it says that earlage, I wouldn't necessarily worry about that. Can you use earlage? Yes, you can. You have to have specific headers for it. They are the earlage headers. You can if you want. Now, taking a look at our silo, we have ourselves chaff, which is our chopped corn. We used a chopper on the corn and the corn chopping header. That just came over as chaff. That is being converted to our standard run-of-the-mill silage. Silage is the obviously top category that we do need for our cattle, both beef and dairy. Our grass, we went ahead, we just ended up using a different header on the grass. It doesn't matter how you harvest the grass, but you can bring the grass on over. That is going to convert into our grass silage, or haylage, as you would call it in real life. And then, of course, we just put our raw cornmeal in. and this raw cornmeal is going to be fermented cornmeal. Now, taking a look down here on this side, you can see the high moisture corn coming in. You can also put in what is ground oats, barley, wheat, soybeans, ground corn, and ground ear corn. That's where the earlage header will come into play if you all would like to use it. Otherwise, we can do different things to convert into some mineral feed. So again, our raw cornmeal is going to be considered in Westby the same as mineral feed. Now, I know that I run an ultra wide monitor, so you all cannot see the mixing ratios. The mixing ratios, as long as you see green on all three categories, you will be safe. It will be TMR, but you need to have three categories, whether that be straw, hay, silage, or mineral feed. In this farm setup, you want to make sure if you want to pull from the silos, you have your TMR mixer underneath the chute right by these silos. Most all of the barns from J&F Modding that he did here for Westby, Wisconsin, if you look up and left to the barns, you will see, if you look at your controls menu up at the top left corner, it will say open Hay Loft. When you do so, it will bring out an elevator and it will produce a trigger point here, in which if you are doing small square bales, if you want to cheat it, you can put round bales or anything else in there. But to be realistic, you would do these small square bales. When you pull up here, it will auto dispense those bales into the barn for you. If you put hay and straw both into the top of this barn, into the hay loft, those bales will be available for you to pull out if you pull your TMR mixer underneath this pipe here. That one will dispense any of the hay and straw for your TMR mixture if you would prefer from your hay loft. So now from our silo, as things are converting, you will see your three categories. You will see your silage, you will see your fermented cornmeal as it begins to ferment. You will also see your grass silage. Doing an even balance, again, watching your TMR mixtures on the left side of the screen in the control menu, making sure the three categories are green, you will have made your TMR. That TMR can then be fed out to the freestall barn or any of the other ones that you would like to do on the map if you can, or the same with the small self-driven carts. It is the same exact concept. Now, heading out to our beef pasture, things are going to be a little bit different. Water is taken care of completely on both dairy and beef on Westby completely. The round bale feeder is used. If you would like to put straw out here, you can do so, but I've been using this round bale feeder so far to fill up the hay category. Do you need to? No, but you can. If you want to round bale, you can do so, and you can fill this hay category, and therefore also feeding out these other two individually if you would like. But making a TMR mixture and feeding that TMR mixture into the dispenser here, this will fill all three categories at the same time. To do so, we're going to need that Gale grinder. So we're going to hop back in our 7810. Let's go grab that Gale mixer. I'll now go over the steps in which you'll need to take with the Gale mixer in order to do TMR for your beef cattle. So now that we have the Gale mixer, I'm going to kind of utilize a couple of different things. So this Gale mixer, if you wanted to, you could harvest something such as oats. If you had oats, you could use a gravity wagon such as the J&M or any other gravity wagon that you choose. You can utilize this here pipe, which is the uncover, which for PC is going to be Z on the keyboard or whatever you have it set to as your key bindings with controller or anything else. You can go ahead, you can put this pipe out, you can put oats directly in here if you would like. From there, we can swing that pipe out. We can put them in this silo here. And inside of this silo, it will then convert to mineral feed for you. Now, the other step, if you don't want to use this guy for doing that, you can use this hammer mill here, in which you can take the soybeans, you can drop and unload the soybeans into the hammer mill. And as you can see in here, we have now our ground soybeans being converted from soybeans to mineral feed. It'll give us 1 liter so far. It'll continue converting. But any of these down here, which have the same symbol as the mineral feed, they are going to convert to mineral feed. Either way that you do choose to create your mineral feed, whether it be with the scale mixer, putting in your oats or anything else you would choose that it'll accept, and putting them into this bin here if you would like to go that route to get your mineral feed created, or using that other hammer mill that I showed. Either way, in the end, you are going to need that mineral feed. That mineral feed can then be loaded back into this scale mixer with, again, that pipe being out. You put your cover out, which again is going to be Z or any other control that you have set up for unfold cover. Now that we have our Gale mixer filled up, it is a little bit touchy utilizing this Gale mixer, but we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take our Gale mixer out to our beef pasture now, and we are gonna pull our Gale mixer up to this feeder here, and we're gonna now let the feeder fill the bunker. Now, as it is filling, you guys can watch. Of course, I didn't have any silage, I didn't have any grain in there, but we took that mineral feed, and with the Gale mixer, we are now filling up our total food for the beef cattle, and it is evenly dispensing like it would with TMR. We are getting our silage, we are getting our hay and our grain all being fed out evenly. Now, I know I put that hay bale out there, so it's going to be very much uneven at the moment, but if you follow the steps in which I have just shown, and you use the Gale mixer with converting mineral feed here for Westby, Wisconsin, you will have very happy cattle in your beef pastures, successfully filling your silage, hay, and grain for your cattle. But now that I have gone over all of that, I hope you all are now a little bit more informed as far as TMR, the two different ways in which you can feed your cattle here in Westby, Wisconsin. As always, TMR is going to be the best choice for feeding your cattle. It just makes the most sense. It fills all the categories needed to keep your cattle doing well, keep them healthy, and therefore keeping productivity at its highest. Of course, if you're running dairy, you're going to want that because it will help your cattle produce more milk, therefore getting more money back out of your investment in cattle here in FS22. But y'all, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to close these gates up here. We're going to call this one a video. If you all have any more questions for TMR on Westby, Wisconsin, please feel free to post them in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video today, make sure you go ahead, tap that thumbs up button for me. And of course, if you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you go ahead and subscribe here to the KingMake community as well. But anyways, I'm going to hop back in my old combine out here. I got some more soybeans that we need to harvest up here in Westby, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.